Hello my sweet friends and welcome to Kinda Shabby. My name is Becky and I am so glad you stopped by. Today we're going to be doing a quick and easy trash to treasure. You can use any type of tin can, bottles or jars, or some hard cardboard containers. So go grab a few things out of your recycling bin and let's get this project started. To begin the project, I made sure that my items were clean and dry, and now I'm just painting on a couple of coats of the Rust-Oleum chalked paint in the color Linen White. Then you want to make sure that you let it dry thoroughly between each coat that you apply. So we're going to start with our fancy cans first, and I always do take some sandpaper and just go around the rim so I don't cut myself when I'm working with my cans. And I've also painted a little way down in there so when we put our florals in there, the back side of the can is not going to show through. And I am going to be using the Decoupage Queen rice paper, and this is called Coach House Cottage. And I will link this below for you because I get this from my beautiful friend Kimberly at My Victorian Heart. And this is the image here that I want to use on my first can. So I'm going to take a little bit of water and a small brush and just gently wet around that image. And where we have wet it makes it easy to just tear this image right from the paper. And it gives that nice feathered edge just like that. And that's going to look really, really pretty when we get that applied to our can. And now I'm going to use some matte Mod Podge to apply my image to my can. And I like to work in sections. So I'm going to apply a nice light thin coat to one side. Start in the middle and tap it down. And then pull it back and do the same thing to the other side. That looks fantastic. And I find when I just go nice and slow like that, it just really helps to avoid a lot of wrinkles and bubbles. And I'm just going to do that same process to apply this piece to this can as well. And then once I have each image down, I just come back over and apply a nice light even coat all over the top, just making sure that everything is sealed down really well. And I've got some nice scraps here, doilies and lace and fabric and whatnot. And I'm just going to start grabbing some of these pieces and gluing them down wherever I think they're going to look nice on my project. And I'll be using some of my art glitter glue. I love that really tiny fine tip on that. And also I'll occasionally be using some hot glue as well. And this is a scrap that actually came off the bottom of this piece of lace right here. And I think that that's going to look pretty glued alongside there. So my image here can just kind of barely peek out from behind that little lace portion there. I think that looks really pretty. And I'm going to take this piece and we're going to glue that down to this side as well. I think that gives just a nice little frame to our image there. That is so cute. I've got just enough of this to glue around the bottom. And since this is a little thicker, I'm going to just use some hot glue on that. Projects like this are just so great for using up a bunch of your scraps. And then I tore a piece of chiffon from a larger scrap that I had, and I just love how shabby those little edges are. I'm just going to put it at the top and tie it onto the top of the can. Just super easy, so quick and so cute too. And I'm going to find some similar laces and do the same thing to this other can off camera, and then we'll come back and get started on our bottle. we go. Just a perfect little scrap busting project. Quick and easy and super cute as well. And for our bottle, we're going to do something a little different. If you look closely at the decoupage paper, you can see that it has all of these little swirls in the background and some little beaded trim here. And so I'm going to be taking the Iron Orchid Designs stamp set in Reverie, and it has all of these gorgeous little flourishes. There's actually 2 sheets here. So it's got these little flourishes, and then at the top of this second page here, it actually has that little stamped beaded trim. So I'm going to use one of the cover sheets and just lay out some of these swirls in a pattern that I like, and then we'll get our bottle stamped. So I've laid out some little florals and swirls that I like, and I'm using the Iron Orchid Designs ink in the color black. I'm going to lightly pounce this over my stamps here. I'm going to hover over and just gently press this down on one side and walk my fingers over the design. And then roll it around and do it on the other side here. And that just gives such a beautiful, subtle appearance. And then I'm going to ink these up again and stamp the back part of my little bottle here. And I like that. Gives that nice background just like we see in our decoupage paper. Now I'm going to ink up that beaded trim and see if I can't get this on straight right in here. Okay, I've got a little off center there. And I like that so far, but because I want this to be a little more faint, I am going to take this outside and sand this down a little bit. I just hate getting that dust all in my house. So I'll be back and we will go on to our next step on our little bottle here. And then after sanding, that is the look that I want. Just that barely there, faded looking background. I love that. Got a little overzealous with the sandpaper in a couple of spots and it kind of pulled the paint off, but that just adds to its shabby chic appearance. So we're going to set this aside for just a minute. And now I'm going to be using the Redesign by Prima beautiful mold here, and this one is called Fragrant Roses. But instead of using clay, I'm going to use my hot glue. And I like having my fine-tipped glue gun because it really helps to get into those tight spots. And I'm going to have to sit this down to do it. You just load that design element up with your glue. Then once I've got my glue in there, I kind of drop it a few times to try and get all the air bubbles out. I thought I might need a couple of leaves too, so I did put some glue in there as well. And then once it sets up, it turns a little opaque and you literally just pop them right on out of the mold just like that. And they come out and look just gorgeous. And because of all these little glue strings, I am going to be taking just a minute to cut off that excess with my little scissors here. And then we'll come back and we'll start getting some paint on all of these. So for the leaves and stems, they will be painted in Waverly in the color Moss. And then for the rose, they'll get a combination of the Vintage Victorian from Folk Art and the Deco Art in Reminisce. And I think all 3 of these colors are going to blend very nicely with our decoupage paper. And you can see once you get the paint on there, those details just really start coming out. And now I'm taking the Vintage Victorian and I'm going to cover a little rosebuds. That's just so pretty. And then I'm going to paint the entire rose with the lighter pink. then come back in and do some highlights with the darker color. And that's nothing more than a little bit of hot glue. How cute is that? And it did take 2 coats to completely cover up the glue so it didn't look like it was still transparent. Now we're going to take just a tiny little bit of our darker color pink here. I'm going to dab off the excess. I'm just going to kind of start in the middle and just add some darker color in there. And I'm going to add a little bit up at the top there, just to kind of highlight on the top of the little buds as well. So super cute. And then I'm going to put some white wax over this, and that's going to just kind of tone all of these colors down. That's just going to be so beautiful. I really like that. And now I'm using some Tight Bond wood glue, and I'm going to brush that on the back, and we're going to start gluing this down. This stuff does not dry clear. That's the only thing that I don't like about it. It's an excellent glue, but it will show if it seeps out from underneath my image here. I think that looks good there. And I am going to have to continue to apply pressure so this will stick down. And it doesn't take long for the glue to set up. That is just so pretty. I think that looks fantastic. I'm getting ready to add a little bit of hot glue right there because that just doesn't want to lie flat. So hopefully some hot glue will get that to stick, and if not, the rest of it's on there and that looks fantastic. So I'm just going to put a little bit in there and we'll just see if that sticks. And that worked. And now I'm using my Jolie white finishing wax, but any kind of wax that you have on hand will be just fine. I'm just going to dip my brush in there, dab off most of the excess, and just rub it on my flower here. And you see how that just softens the look of that darker pink in there? It just kind of blends everything together. I like it. And then I'm going to glue these leaves on here too. I think that's going to be really cute. I just think that is just so pretty. And it is going to look so good with my little cans here. I love that. Daisy says she's tired of me crafting and she wants me to play with her. She's just the cutest. I love her so much. So I topped this off with a little bow made of some flour sack cloth, muslin, and another piece of that pretty pink chiffon. Then I used this stamp from Amazon and my Ranger archival ink in the color Fern Green to stamp some book page and make just some cute little tags. I just thought they needed just a little something extra. So now I just need to get some flowers in here and give you a closer look at how cute this week's project turned out. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been my pleasure to craft with you. Please subscribe for more kinda shabby but always chic, crafty inspirations. And until next time, my sweet friends, be blessed.